Silence is not weakness. It is the most underestimated form of power. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, where people broadcast every thought and announce every intention, the person who has mastered silence holds all the cards. But this is not the silence of passivity or fear. This is strategic silence, calculated silence, the kind of silence that Machiavelli understood when he wrote about power, and the Stoics practiced when they cultivated inner strength. Together, these philosophies reveal something most people never grasp. The less you reveal, the more control you possess. Before we explore these 10 laws, understand this. If you apply even half of what you are about to learn, you will fundamentally change how you navigate relationships, negotiations, and conflicts. And if you want to master the psychology of power and self-control, subscribe because we examine these hidden dynamics every week. Most people treat words like they are free. They speak without thinking. They share without strategy. They reveal their intentions, their insecurities, their plans to anyone who will listen. And in doing so, they hand away their power. Machiavelli observed that people who talk too much give others the information needed to manipulate them. The Stoics taught that unnecessary speech scatters your energy and weakens your presence. Both traditions arrived at the same conclusion from different paths. Mastery begins with knowing when to stay silent. The first law is to speak only when your words improve upon silence. This principle comes from the Stoic philosopher Zeno. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, is what I am about to say necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it useful? Most conversation fails at least one of these tests. We speak to fill awkward pauses. We speak to validate ourselves. We speak because we crave attention. But none of these reasons justify breaking silence. When you speak only when your words add value, something remarkable happens. People start listening when you do speak. Your words carry weight because they are rare. You are no longer background noise. You become someone whose opinion matters precisely because you do not offer it constantly. This is not about being mysterious for the sake of it. This is about conserving your power and deploying it strategically. Think about the people you respect most. Are they the ones who never stop talking? Or are they the ones who listen carefully and speak with purpose? Silence creates space for observation. While everyone else is performing, you are learning. You are gathering information about motivations, insecurities, patterns. And information is leverage. The second law is to never reveal your full hand. Machiavelli understood that predictability is vulnerability. When people know exactly what you think, exactly what you want, exactly what you will do, they can control you. They can anticipate your moves. They can use your desires against you. The person who reveals everything believes they are being authentic. What they are actually doing is making themselves easy to manipulate. This does not mean lying or being deceptive. It means being selective. You can be honest without being transparent about everything. You can be genuine without exposing your complete strategy. The Stoics called this maintaining your inner citadel. There is a part of you that remains private, protected, untouchable by external forces. In negotiations, the person who speaks first often loses. They reveal their position, their urgency, their constraints. The person who waits gathers all this information before committing to anything. In conflicts, the person who explodes emotionally shows exactly where they are vulnerable. The person who remains composed keeps their opponent guessing. Mastering silence in this context means becoming comfortable with ambiguity. Most people hate the tension of unanswered questions. They rush to fill gaps with explanations. They overshare to avoid being misunderstood. But being slightly misunderstood is often advantageous. It keeps people off balance. It prevents them from forming fixed ideas about you. The third law is to let others expose themselves while you listen. This is where patience becomes power. People love to talk about themselves. They love to share their opinions, their problems, their plans. And when they do, they are giving you a map to their psychology. Every complaint reveals what bothers them. Every boast reveals what they are insecure about. Every accusation reveals what they fear. The Stoics practiced active listening not as a social nicety but as a strategic discipline. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak. When you truly listen, you gain insights that talkers never access. You understand motivations that remain hidden to those who are too busy broadcasting. Machiavelli advised that a wise prince learns more from his enemies than from his flatterers. Why? Because enemies reveal their true thoughts, while flatterers only tell you what you want to hear. When you remain silent and let others speak, they often reveal more than they intended. They fill your silence with their assumptions, their biases, their vulnerabilities. This law requires restraint. When someone says something you disagree with, your instinct is to correct them immediately. When someone misunderstands you, your instinct is to explain yourself. But these instincts give away your position. Sometimes the most powerful response is simply to listen, absorb, and file the information away for when it becomes useful. The fourth law is to control your emotional reactions. The Stoics were obsessed with this principle. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself that no one can insult you without your permission. Events do not anger you. Your interpretation of events angers you. And that interpretation is yours to control. When you react emotionally, you hand control to whoever triggered that emotion. They pushed a button and you responded predictably. This is the opposite of power. Machiavelli observed that rulers who are controlled by their passions are easily manipulated. Their enemies simply need to provoke them, and they will make impulsive decisions that undermine their own interests. Mastering silence here means creating space between stimulus and response. Something happens. Before you react, you pause. You observe your own emotional impulse. You ask whether this response serves your interests. Most of the time, it does not. The angry email you want to send. The defensive explanation you want to offer. The cutting remark you want to make. In the moment, these feel necessary. With space, they reveal themselves as weakness. This is not about suppressing your emotions. It is about not being enslaved by them. Feel what you feel, then choose how you respond. The person who maintains composure in situations designed to provoke them becomes unmanageable. They cannot be baited. They cannot be manipulated through emotional triggers. They remain in control of themselves, which means they remain in control of the situation. The fifth law is to reveal weaknesses strategically. This sounds counterintuitive. If silence is power, why would you ever reveal weakness? Because selective vulnerability is one of the most sophisticated forms of manipulation. When you show people a weakness that does not actually threaten you, they believe they understand your limitations. They think they know where to attack. And while they are focused on that decoy vulnerability, your real strengths and strategies remain hidden. Machiavelli was a master of this. He would let people believe he was weaker than he was, then exploit their overconfidence. The Stoics practiced a version of this when they deliberately took on humble appearances. Cato wore simple clothing while being one of the most influential men in Rome. This disarmed people who expected displays of status and power. The key is that the weakness you reveal must be real enough to be believable but not central to your actual position. You might admit to being disorganized when your real strength is strategic thinking. You might reveal anxiety about public speaking when your power lies in private persuasion. People love finding weaknesses in others because it makes them feel superior. Give them something to find, and they stop looking for what actually matters. The sixth law is to make silence your default response to provocation. People will test you. They will push your boundaries. They will try to provoke reactions. This is how they assess your character and find your weaknesses. The person who always takes the bait shows that they can be controlled. The person who responds to provocation with silence demonstrates that they operate on their own terms. This does not mean never defending yourself. It means choosing your battles with extreme selectivity. Most provocations are not worth your energy. Someone makes a snide comment. Someone questions your competence. Someone tries to make you look bad. Your instinct is to correct the record immediately. But this instinct often makes things worse. It signals that you are bothered. It gives the provocation power. When you respond to provocation with calm silence, several things happen. First, the provocation loses its energy. Without your reaction, it has nowhere to go. Second, the person who provoked you reveals their own pettiness. Third, observers see your composure and respect it. And fourth, you conserve your energy for things that actually matter. The Stoics taught that the best revenge is to not be like your enemy. When someone tries to drag you into their dysfunction, your silence is the ultimate refusal to participate. You remain above the fray. You do not stoop. You do not engage. And paradoxically, this non-engagement is more powerful than any comeback you could deliver. The seventh law is to observe patterns, not just events. This is where silence transforms into wisdom. Most people react to individual events. Someone does something that bothers them, and they address that specific incident. But isolated events are noise. Patterns are signal, and you can only identify patterns by observing quietly over time. Machiavelli emphasized understanding human nature over individual actions. People are predictable when you observe them long enough. They have patterns of behavior that repeat. They have triggers that consistently provoke certain responses. They have strategies they default to under pressure. When you identify these patterns, you can anticipate moves before they happen. The Stoics practiced this through their study of human psychology. They noticed that certain types of people behave in consistent ways. The flatterer always seeks favor. The gossip always spreads information. The controller always needs dominance. Once you identify someone's pattern, their specific actions become predictable. Your silence allows you to gather data without interfering with it. When you are always talking, always reacting, always inserting yourself, you change the dynamics you are trying to understand. When you observe quietly, people behave naturally. They show you who they really are because they do not feel the need to manage your perception. The eighth law is to use silence to reclaim energy from unproductive interactions. Every word you speak costs energy. Every explanation you offer drains your resources. Every argument you engage in depletes your focus. Most of this expenditure is unnecessary. You explain yourself to people who have no intention of understanding. You argue with people who have no interest in truth. You defend yourself against accusations that do not deserve recognition. Seneca wrote extensively about the shortness of life and how we waste it. One of the primary ways we waste life is by investing energy in interactions that produce no value. The person who has mastered silence has learned to stop doing this. They do not explain themselves to people whose opinions do not matter. They do not defend themselves against every criticism. They do not participate in every conflict they are invited to. This conservation of energy is not selfishness. It is strategic resource management. Your energy is finite. Your attention is limited. Your emotional capacity has boundaries. When you stop pouring these resources into bottomless pits, you have them available for things that actually advance your interests and align with your values. The ninth law is to let your actions speak instead of your intentions. Machiavelli observed that people judge you by what you do, not by what you say you will do. The world is full of people announcing their plans, declaring their intentions, broadcasting their goals. Most of these announcements go nowhere. They are substitutes for action, not precursors to it. The Stoics were pragmatists. They cared about virtue in action, not virtue in theory. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should waste no more time arguing about what a good person is, but simply be one. This is the essence of this law. Stop talking about who you are going to be or what you are going to do. Start being and doing it. Silently, consistently, without announcement. When you operate this way, you gain two advantages. First, you face no resistance from people who would try to talk you out of your plans if they knew about them. Second, your results speak for themselves. There is no gap between promise and delivery because you never promised anything. You just delivered. The 10th and final law is to understand that silence is active, not passive. This is crucial. Mastering silence does not mean becoming invisible or withdrawn. It means becoming deliberate. Every word you speak is a choice. Every silence you maintain is a choice. You are not failing to communicate. You are choosing not to communicate certain things at certain times to certain people. The Stoics distinguished between what is in your control and what is not. Your speech is completely in your control. This makes it one of your most powerful tools. But only if you treat it as such. Only if you stop speaking carelessly and start speaking strategically. Only if you recognize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Machiavelli understood that perception is reality in the realm of power. And you control perception not just through what you reveal but through what you withhold. The mystery around you, the things people do not know, the questions they cannot answer, these create space for them to project their own assumptions. And often, those assumptions work in your favor far better than the truth would. So here is what we have covered. 10 laws for mastering silence. Speak only when your words improve upon silence. Never reveal your full hand. Let others expose themselves while you listen. Control your emotional reactions. Reveal weaknesses strategically. Make silence your default response to provocation. Observe patterns, not just events. Use silence to reclaim energy. Let your actions speak instead of your intentions. Understand that silence is active, not passive. These are not theoretical principles. These are practical tools that shift power dynamics in your favor. Not through manipulation for its own sake, but through strategic self-control. The person who has mastered these laws becomes extremely difficult to read, difficult to manipulate, difficult to provoke. They operate from a position of strength because they have learned the most fundamental truth about power. You cannot control everything, but you can control yourself. And that is enough. If you want to explore more about the intersection of Stoic philosophy and strategic thinking, subscribe to this channel. We go deep into these concepts every week. And comment below with which law you found most challenging or most useful. Let us build a community of people who understand that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness under control. Until next time, speak less, observe more, and master your world from within.